Okay guys, we are back. We're gonna have an attempt at gluing this basket. Now what I do is I glue all these short orange ones in first, and they actually got to be glued to the bottom of the basket. This weave right here on the bottom, this piece right here gets glued to the bottom all the way across all the orange ones. Now, because that's such an area where you can't clamp it, there's really no way you don't want to hold it for an hour. So what we use is super glue. Now, I don't recommend using super glue for all your woodworking projects. It's not really a wood glue, but sometimes super glue does help in situations where you can't hold something for very long or you can't clamp it or something. And then also I have, and you don't need to use this, but it does come in handy. It's an accelerator. Comes in a spray can. I use that to just speed up the process of the super glue drying. Super glue does dry fast naturally, normally, but this will make it dry instantly. As soon as this chemical touches the glue, pretty much it's dry. I mean, you got to kind of work fast. So I kind of like using this because I can go around and glue these pieces in on the bottom, and I don't have to worry about holding them for 20 seconds or 30 seconds. I can just put some super glue on, and it'll be instantly dried. So I got my weight on here a little bit just to compress these rings. What I like to do first, and you got to kind of work fast if you're going to use this accelerator, because this will spray on wet. It'll evaporate real quick, so you got to work quick. You'll spray this on the part what you're going to glue to down here, and then you'll put the super glue on this orange piece. Quick slide it down, take your finger and press that up against there, raise your basket up off the bottom of your basket so you don't accidentally glue your basket to the bottom, and then let go a few seconds and it should be dry. So let's give it a try. We'll do this one right here. All I'm going to do is go on the edge right here, along the edge, and I'm going to raise this piece up, get this piece so it stays up a little bit right here, and we're just going to spray some of this stuff along there. We're going to put some glue on this piece right here, and then we're going to take a quick press that against that piece. Just hold it for like 15 seconds or so, and it should be dry. That's a solid piece right there. Nice and dry. And this accelerator works nice because it just makes that glue set up real fast. You don't have to hold it. So this piece is glued in. Now eventually this piece is going to get glued to the top up here, but we're going to do that last. We're going to go around and glue all these bottoms on first. So now what I'll do is go over to this next one over here. You can see right here. We'll try to get this out of the way. We'll go over to this next one over here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to raise this up. I raised it up. I'm going to put some spray on the bottom piece right here. And then we're going to throw some glue on this orange piece. Slide it down in there. Compress it. Raise your basket up a little bit off the bottom so you don't accidentally glue your ring to the bottom of your basket. Then you can let go. That piece is rock solid. So that's two pieces within a minute or so. So now we'll just take okay, we will move, and this is what I said, if you put your basket on a piece of wood, you'll be able to move it around where you want to get it attached to. I think what we're going to do, maybe we'll glue this one over here. Okay, this one on the end right here. I know it's going to be hard for you to see, but we're going to raise this piece up right here. I'm just going to put some spray. Oop, you don't want to do that. Put some spray in there. Put some glue on that. Compress it. Now that piece is solid. This piece right here on the end is solid. So now you got your, so now we can just pick this basket up and turn it a little bit so we can get at these other pieces, and just go around your basket and glue all them bottom pieces in. You might have to move this piece right here, but you want to use this weight just to kind of hold your rings down. What we're going to do is we're going to come in here. It's hard to see, but we're going to come in here and glue this piece right here. So I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to spray a little of that stuff on that piece. Come in here with a little bit of glue. Compress it. And you want to make sure your pieces are straight up and down too. Your strips. You don't want to get them crooked in there. And I don't know. Alright, so now we're going to go over to move my weight a little bit. We're just going to go over to this piece right here. Just kind of raise it out of the way. Take the spray, if you got it. Spray some of that on there. Put your piece down. And just hold it with your finger for a little while. That should be nice and tight. Wipe off any glue that you can. Super glue dries fast. That piece is nice and tight. And now we'll go on to this next piece. This piece right here. Just going to bring it up. Put a little of the spray on that. Bring it down. And just hold it. Maybe you can wipe off some of that super glue a little bit. Super glue dries fast, especially if you use this accelerator. See, that piece is nice and solid there. Now we're going to come around here. Got them all tied. We're going to come around here. We got this one, this one. We're going to come around here and do this one over here. Okay, we did that one. We're going to pull this one up. And the reason why you don't want to put glue on it and then slide the whole piece down in there, because you're going to get glue all over these other pieces. You want to push this down in here first, just above where you want to put glue. Spray some of that on there. Throw some glue on there. Give it a little hold, a couple seconds. And that should be pretty good. Now we'll go to this one. We'll raise this one up. Spray some stuff on, put a little glue on it. Give it a little squeeze. And be careful, because you don't want to super glue your fingers to your project. And that one's in there solid. We just got one more right here. You can see we got one more right here. So we're just gonna bring that one out of the way. Take a little bit of your spray. Add a little glue. All right. All the orange ones are glued. So all the orange ones are tight. Now, what we're going to do is what I like to do. These black ones should be a little snug here. It should be okay. Okay. So all the orange ones are tight. Now we're going to glue the tops of these here. And the tops, we don't use super glue. The only reason I use super glue is on the bottom where I can't hold it. I don't like using super glue on areas that I can get wood glue in. So what we're going to do is just take some wood glue, and we're going to put some wood glue on a piece of cardboard here. Set that aside here. Now this is where you might want to use your weight too, because you're actually putting weight on it, because you're going to glue these top ones in. And some toothpicks. I like using toothpicks for putting my glue in. And I also have these small little C-clamps that I like to use. And what we're going to do, hopefully you can see this. We're going to glue the tops of these pieces. I just take a little bit of wood glue and just kind of push this piece away from here and get some wood glue down inside there. Just kind of let it drip down in between there. Some of these are a little harder to do than others, but get enough wood glue in there. This one's a little tight, but we should be able to get it to drip down inside that piece. And then all you're going to do is take your clamp and clamp that, and then just take some toothpicks and clean up any glue that you might squeeze out. You don't want to have a bunch of wood glue. And make sure that when you're doing that, check the underneath right here, because wood glue is going to squeeze out of here underneath. You don't want to forget that underneath here. Otherwise, it's going to dry and you're going to have a mess on the bottom of your basket here. Like I said, the black ones will fall through if you're not careful. Then you're going to go to your next one. We'll just put the weight on here just a little bit, just to kind of keep it down a little bit. Go to your next one. Try to get some glue to run down in there. And grab yourself a clamp. And clean up any wood glue that you might have squeezed out. And remember to check underneath. And these pieces are going to fall out. These black pieces are going to want to fall out. Slide them back in. And then you're going to keep on going around this basket to glue all these orange ones on the top. And then you're going to clamp all these on the top. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that off camera. We'll finish gluing all these orange ones on top and putting clamps all on top. Because then we'll let it sit overnight. So, we'll be back in a little bit. Alright guys, we're back here. I just want to just kind of quick show you what it looks like. I just got done gluing all the orange pieces in here. Takes a little while to glue all the pieces, but I just want to show you what it looks like after I glue them and get everything all clamped up. This is what you're going to have. I use these C-clamps to clamp all these top pieces in because I use wood glue to glue these top pieces in. The black pieces are not glued in yet. They're just in there to keep everything lined up. You want to glue your short orange ones in first, or your short ones. Then let this dry overnight. And then the next day what we're going to do is come back and take all the clamps off and get working on the rest of these. So I just wanted to show you that. This is what it's going to look like when you're done gluing it. Got all the clamps on there. Let that sit overnight. And then we'll be back. Okay guys, it is the next morning. I let these clamps dry overnight. You probably won't have to let them dry overnight, maybe an hour or 2 hours, but I just let them dry overnight. They had a lot of things going on. So let me just show you what we got going on here. I'll move my camera here. Got the basket right here. You can see that, hopefully. All the clamps are on. We're just gonna, next thing you're gonna do is just take off all these clamps. These pieces should be all dry, nice. The black ones are not glued yet. Okay, take off all your clamps. Now, you shouldn't have to use your weight to compress any of this down because everything's being held down already. The next thing we're going to do, we have to cut these orange ones off a little shorter. So what I'm going to do is just pull some of these black ones out, because we can always put them back in. And we'll turn this basket. I have a saw right here I use. It's a, I'm not even sure what you call this, a back saw or some sort of real sharp. It's a flush cutting saw. So what I do is just trim these off with this, because it's going to be covered up anyway with your top ring. So I just come along here and I'm just going to pull this back and try to cut these off here a little bit. Not the greatest way to do it. Just get them off close to flush. We can always take the sander and we're going to sand these down a little bit even. So you just want to kind of cut the tops of these off a little bit. You gotta be real careful because you don't want to break anything. And we got one clamp on here yet. And then as you're doing that, you could probably stick your black ones back in if you want. We'll go to this next one right here. It's not the greatest way. I ain't really figured out the best way of cutting these off. when you make your strips, you could cut them. You could stick the orange ones in there, mark them with a pencil, and then go on your scroll saw and cut them off, be a closer cut. And then you won't have to go through this. But we'll do it this way for now and see. We'll just pull some of these black ones out right here. Just get them close because we're going to take a sander and go over the top of these. Take this black one out here. Stick some black ones back in here. Just take all the black ones out because it's all being held together already with the orange ones. Alright, so we have them cut off. So the next thing, what we're going to do is we're going to grab a sander and just I'll grab my palm sander. We're just going to sand these flush a little better. Okay, so now you want to be a little careful using your palm sander because there is a lot of vibration, but you just want to go over the tops of these to clean them up a little bit. Alright, that's enough for that racket. Now, what you got is all the orange ones are glued in, all the short ones, nice and flush up here. You want to make sure it's nice and clean up here, because that's where your top is going to go on. And you want to make sure your top is on the correct way. These little indentations right here, all these inside are going to cover up these tops. It's going to go on like that, and that's going to create the top of your basket. That's why you do not glue the black ones in until you put your top on, because if you did, you're never going to get this top on. So you set the top on now, and now you set all your black ones in. They should slide right in. That's why I like to cut them longer, because then I can always sand them nice and smooth and flush with the top of the rings. They should all slide in really nice, no forcing anything. One more right here. There we go. So, we have your top set on there and all your black ones in, and all the black ones are going to get glued on the bottom, just like we did the orange ones. We're gonna lift this up. Let me see if you can see what I'm talking about. We're going to lift this up, put a little glue right there, and put it back down, and hold that in there. It's hard to see, but we're going to do the same thing what we did the orange one. And also I'm going to use this accelerator spray. Something you don't have to use, but it's pretty nice to use this so you don't have to hold for a long time. So let's start with gluing these in. And I got to get my super glue opened. Okay. And then I drop it. All right. Super glue is open. We're going to start gluing these in. And you want to make sure when you put these black strips in, when you put it up and bring it down, make sure these are straight up and down. That's going to make a big difference to the looks of your basket. You don't want them crooked. So we are going to try to get these glued in. And I'm going to start with this one right here. We're going to raise it up. Now we'll just take it like that. We're going to spray some glue. Spray some of that accelerator on that piece. We're going to bring that down in here. We're going to put some glue on that bottom section and bring it in there and hold it. I'm just kind of holding the bottom so the basket don't move. See, that piece is solid in there. And we're going to do the same thing with this one over here. Just raise it up, take it out of there. We're going to put a little of this spray where it gets glued. Slip it down in there. Put a little glue on the bottom part of it. Make sure it's straight. And hold it up against the bottom on that 18-degree bevel there. solid. I'm going to do the same thing with this corner one. That one we can just raise up like that. Take some of this spray. We messed up here a little bit. We got to do that again. All right, so if you make a little mistake, I'm just going to take some sandpaper here. Clean that up a little bit. All right. All right, we're gonna try this again here. I had to do a little fixing there. Sometimes something doesn't work out, you gotta try it again. So we're gonna spray some of that stuff on there. Put some super glue on here. Try to get that attached there. All right, that one's dried. We got these three. Now we got this end one here. Go to this one over here. I found it easier to lift the basket up. You can spray that stuff right where you need it. Stick this down back in here. Put some glue on that. And attach it. You just got to hold it for like 15 seconds or so. It should tighten right up. Do the same thing with this one. Raise that up. Spray that stuff. and stick some of that on there. You want to raise it up so you're not gluing to your board. That one's good. Now we'll go with this one here. Raise it up. Do that. That one's tight. Let's see. We got this one. Raise it up. Spray that stuff on. Just kind of hold that bottom a little bit. That one's tight. And now we're going to do the last one. All right, so you can see this or not. All the black ones are glued on the bottom, all the way around the bottom. Now all we got to do is glue these to here. And we're going to do the same method as we did the orange ones. We're going to take a little wood glue. I usually take a little wood glue here. And a couple toothpicks here. Oops, that didn't work. A couple toothpicks. And we're just gonna try to get some glue down in there, in between the back here. Just push it down in there. Until you think you got enough in there. And then we're just going to take a clamp and we're just going to clamp these the best we can here. And another thing I forgot to tell you about, if you take Q-tips and a little bit of water, your wet Q-tip, a little bit of water, you can wipe off any glue that squeezes out real easy. That water will dilute that glue, and it won't leave a lot of residue on your project. It will clean up the glue really nice. Because you want to get all the glue that squeezes out off this the best you can. And don't forget to get underneath here. Right underneath here. Don't forget, because glue is going to squeeze out there. You don't want to end up having a bunch of glue squeezing out the bottom. And we're going to go around this basket. Now you want to make sure that when you clamp this top piece in, that you push it down to where it's tight against the this first ring right here. You want to push it down so it has a nice tight fit. But basically you're just going to go and get some glue down inside there. Probably don't need a whole lot. Grab a clamp. Clamp that piece on there. Take your Q-tip. Clean up any glue that is squeezing out. Don't forget the bottom right here. You can see there's a bunch of glue right here. That all cleaned up, and then maybe a little across this top here so you don't have to. We're going to sand this top again, but I like to clean up as much glue as I can so I'm not trying to sand a bunch of glue off. Okay, so that's how you glue these on here. I'm going to glue the rest of these on off camera. Pretty self-explanatory. So when I get these all glued and everything's all dry, we'll come back, take the clamps off, and we'll move on to the next step. Hi guys, okay, we are back. We're going to take the clamps off this basket. It's the last ones. So let me just move my camera here. I got the clamps all on here. Hopefully everything holds. If it doesn't hold, well, then you got to do some re-gluing. But hopefully everything held good. So I only used wood glue on the top up here. There's times that I've taken these clamps off and these have popped loose or something popped loose. You got to redo it. So far these are okay. Now we're going to take our saw again and we're going to trim these off again. Hopefully none of these are going to come loose. Otherwise we're going to be re-gluing a few things. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to do the same thing as we did with the orange ones, cut them off, and then we're going to sand them with the sander. Okay, we are gonna take the sander here, and we're just gonna make these nice and flush and smooth on the top. Alright, that is a pretty nice looking basket. And you can always take some sandpaper and go over it a little bit. You can touch up this black if you have to touch up some black paint, orange paint. You touch it up. So we got one more thing we're going to do here. This is optional, but I like the effect that it gives it. We're going to put on some upholstery tacks. These are upholstery tacks. And let me see here. So I'll just put these here on. These are some fancier upholstery tacks. I don't know if you can see that or not. They're about this long. They're hard to see. But anyway, we're going to put some of them on. And what you do, we're going to start right here on this. We're going to put them on the black ones to go on the top ring. And then we're going to put them on the bottom along here, the black ones. So first, we're going to go like this, lay your basket on side like this. I got a real tiny drill bit in here. I don't know if it's a 16th or whatever, but it's just a real tiny drill bit. You're just going to drill yourself a little pilot hole. Not very far inside that first black stripe right there. You just kind of, it's like a relief hole. You just don't want to split the wood. Just put your thumbtack in there like this here. Now you want to hold this down so it's got something to attach a nail to. And see, it's hard to see, but you got the upholstery tack right here. Just kind of makes it a little fancier. And they're going to do that to each one. Kind of get about the center. Put that tack in there. And that one, we're going to actually put a little, that one, we're going to put a little super glue. on the tack, stick it in that hole. Because for some reason that one stayed loose. But that's why you don't want to drill this. You don't want to drill this hole too far. You just want to go in just a little bit. Grab one of your tacks. And go to the other side. And also, these what I like about these tacks too is it's actually going to help hold this all together too. Let's just drill all these little holes. Get them in there real good. Okay. That one I don't like how it went in. Try to pop that one back out. Okay, so we're going to put a little super glue on that tack. Stick that in there. That should hold that. Then we'll set it up here. Okay, one more. Okay, we're going to stick a little super glue on that one. There, so I don't know if you can see it. Got the upholstery tacks around on the inside. You can see it. And now we're going to put the upholstery tacks around this bottom right here. So you're going to do the same thing basically. You're just going to drill a hole, a little bit of hole, start a hole there. And actually that is going to really help hold a lot of this together. I mean, the glue is strong. It's going to give it that little fancier look too. Three on this side. I'm not going in very far with this drill bit. It's a real tiny drill bit. Because I want the tack to grip against something when I pound it in. Three, and now you got ones on the end. Hard to see, but you got one on the end right here. And you have two on this end right here. And if the upholstery tacks would happen to come out, you could just use a little super glue to stick them back in. But that, you guys, is pretty much it for this basket. You can see it turned out really nice. Halloween basket, orange and black. Everything's nice and flush on the top here as far as these pieces go. Like I say, I don't like the ones with the handles. What I do now for a finish on these, I will put a boiled linseed oil finish on these baskets, and that'll darken. If you look at this basket right here, this is one I made already. This one is a little darker. You can see the difference. It is a little darker than the one I just did because that linseed oil kind of, it really brings the grain out and darkens the wood up just a little bit. So all in all, the basket turned out really good. Really not too many problems with it. I know the video is long. Here's a couple notes I want to bring up. The pattern that I had, 11 inches by 16 3/4. That's counting the handle. And you have the pattern laid out. I got a pattern over here. Let me just quick grab it. I'll show you. Here is the original pattern. If you can see that, it's the original pattern. 11 by 16 3/4. It's counting the handle when you enlarge it. So that's the measurement, 16 3/4. That's including the handle. But we cut the handle off. We don't use the handle for this basket. So remember that. Another thing, when you're cutting these out, make sure that you let the saw do the job as far as cutting goes. Don't try to push it. Your blade will bowl, and in these areas right here won't be real flat because your blade will bowl and cause it to be curved a little bit. So you want to make sure that. And then the most important thing, after you get everything all cut out, the rings and the top piece here, the thickness of these strips that go down inside this basket is very important. The smaller the basket, the smaller these strips. The bigger the basket, the thicker and wider these strips are going to be. You're going to have to play around with that to figure it out. I make all my baskets the same size, so therefore I can cut all my strips the same size. I think I said 1/8 to 9/64 or something like that. Ain't much difference, but I cut all my strips the same size. That's very important, because if you start putting all your strips in and all of a sudden you can't get a strip in, it's starting to get too tight. Well, now your strips are too thick. But if you make them too thin, now you're going to get them all in and put it together. Now these strips, it might be loose. They might wiggle around. Everything's nice and tight on this basket. So I would suggest buy yourself one of these jigs that go in your table saw slot. This just fits right in your slot in your table saw, and you can cut thin strips all day long, no matter what thickness you want. It's got a little ruler on it. You can cut them all thin as paper, all the way up, whatever thickness you want for strips. Handy little tool to have, and I'll try to put a link for that in the description. Like I said, I use super glue on parts of this. I don't recommend super glue for replacement of wood glue. Whenever I can use wood glue, I'll use wood glue. I don't really like using super glue unless I really have to. I also have this, and I'll put a link for this super glue, 4-ounce bottle of super glue too. Kind of handy to have in your shop. And I'll put a link for this accelerator spray. That's kind of handy to have, where you can spray that on and put a little super glue on the other piece, and once your two pieces touch, chemical reaction, it's going to instantly dry that super glue. So you don't have to sit and hold that any longer than you have to. It's a nice thing to have in your shop too. So I'll put links for all that in the description. Upholstery tacks, that's an option. You don't have to put upholstery tacks in, but it does kind of decorate it a little bit more. Painting. If you want to add color to your basket, this is orange and black. All the painting has to be done before you do any assembly, because you're never going to paint this thing to make it look good when it's all together. So if you want to add any type of color, like red or green or blue or anything like that, you got to do it before you put anything together. Even if you want to paint the rings, you got to do it before you put it together. Because once it's together, it's going to be it'll be very hard to paint this. So I think that is about it for the video. I hope you guys liked it. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. I got more videos coming out. This was a long video, so I'll probably put this in 2 videos, or have this in 2 videos. So we will see you next time on another project. I got another project coming up. I want to do a video, but I'm not a professional YouTuber that makes videos, but I think it turned out pretty good. So we'll see you next time.